Okay, to see if we have actually imported Bootstrap and PhontAwesome correctly into our project, we need to actually start rendering some HTML out and see if it's actually working, right? Okay, so how do we do this? Well, let's create, first we haven't still created our router, so let's create our router. So I'm going to right click on the default folder and hit new Python file, call it router. And here we need to import two things, if you remember from our guestbook application. We need to import the WSGI application and we need to import the route class. Now, there's one thing we need to do before we import, because if we try importing it now, in PyCharm especially, and say import web app 2, well, see, it's not even suggesting web app 2. And if I type in web app 2, it doesn't recognize it. And this doesn't mean the application wouldn't work if we launched it, but PyCharm is not recognizing that we're using the Google Cloud SDK, so we need to tell it, just like we did in the previous case where we told it while we were creating the project. But since the Google Cloud SDK has created the project for us, we need to tell PyCharm that we're using the SDK. So to do that, we go ahead here and hit this arrow, edit configurations, and then hit this plus sign. We're going to select App Engine Server, and I'm going to call this Yum Search 2. You can call it anything you want. It doesn't even have to match your application ID. And here we see the error. Please enable App Engine support for the project. So we need to fix this by pointing it to the App Engine or the Google Cloud SDK. Now, how do we do this? Well, just as in the previous video, we need to navigate to the SDK. And if you installed it in the same place as I have done, it's in our home directory. We find the Google Cloud SDK folder, we go into it, into platform, and select Google App Engine. So this should go away, apply, okay. And now the last thing we need to do in order for PyCharm to recognize that we're using the SDK is we need to restart our PyCharm or our development environment. So I'm going to go ahead and quit out and launch it again. Okay, I'm back in PyCharm and we see that the error has gone away. So now it's recognizing our SDK. And this configuration will hold now for the entire development process. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is import from web app 2, import our WSGI application, okay? And the second thing we need to import is from web app 2 again, import route. Okay, good. And now since the app.yaml file is pointing to router.app, we need to create the app variable. So this will be app is equal to WSGI application, and then we need to tell it that the routes will be a list, and inside this list we will have a list of our route classes. So let's just create the route path. So the route and its handler is going to be something that we're going to fill in the future. Okay, good.